Here's the book right here. It's called All My Strength Comes From Above.
This is Lady Myya. Hello, you guys. We are back with another podcast. I am joined today with my sister Theresha. And I've known this woman for a long time.
Yeah.
A very,
Yes.
very long time. Oh, it's been like 15 years.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Who knew?
Exactly.
She's a wonderful individual. Okay, she used to come into the dealership and be telling me everything. I'll be like, but at the same time, we didn't know we were going to have such a spiritual connection at the same time. And the word that the woman saying, I mean, she went through some things that just kind of like if it didn't sharpen her, you know, it just dusted her off and gave her such a very, you know, like this very consumable message. And so, you know, all right, my Mayan tribe, I'm just going to let y'all hear what she got to say. We'll do that. My Mayan tribe, please welcome Miss Theresha Roberts.
Hi, everyone. Hello. Thank you for having me, dear. It's all a pleasure. As you said, it has been like 15 years since we've known each other. It might have been longer than that. You think about it, because Trinity will be 21 this year.
Yeah, but my baby, she just turned 15.
Okay.
So that's when I had when I had her, right?
Yeah.
When
Yep. So
girl. But it's been a long time though.
very long time, and nowadays, you know, you don't be friends with people for a long time. It's very odd, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, as they say, who God joined together, let no man pull apart. You know,
Okay.
and God brought us together for such a time as this. I believe and do not question that.
Yes.
As you spoke about, I've been through a lot, you know, as we all have, and things that you go through in life is either going to make you or it's going to break you. But the most important thing through it all, you got to trust them. You know what I mean? You got to trust them through the process. You got to trust them through the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. You know, sometimes you just want to run and pack a bag, and then sometimes you want to run and leave the bag and say, I'll get something when I get there. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, you got to learn to trust God. And everything that I went through in my life for such a time as this, I have really learned to trust Him. Trust Him, trust His process. You know what I mean? Trust Him. That's the best way, because doing it my way, not good. But when I do it His way and I say, okay, God, okay, I trust you. You know what I mean? And it always turned out for the good. You know, always for the good. Listen, He never said it was going to be easy. It was not easy for Jesus. Could have gotten away, but He stayed there. David could have gotten away, but he stayed there. Moses could have gotten, but he stayed there. They could have walked away, but they trust God. You know, and Joseph, but you got to trust them. You know what I'm saying? So that's sum it all up. We got to learn to trust Him. We got to know that if we say we His, then it's not going to be comfortable. And you don't want anything to come easy. Anything easy is not worth having. You know, easy come, easy go. You know what harder it is, the more you learn to appreciate. You know what I'm saying? You have to learn to appreciate Him. You have to learn to appreciate what you have. You have to learn to appreciate the process. You have to learn to appreciate the trials and the tribulations, because it's only come to make you better.
Yeah.
If something easy, I don't want something easy. Easy come, I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm not going to appreciate it, and I'm gonna take it for granted. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take it for granted. So I don't want to take it for granted. I don't want to take him for granted. You know what I mean? So,
True.
I've been through it. You know,
Been through it.
yes,
Yes. Honey, tell us. Okay, no, no, no.
okay.
I want people to understand the education on you. Because, honey, you've been doing that education thing for a minute. Tell them what you are well versed in, you having your degrees and stuff.
Okay. Okay. Well, I have a degree in cosmetology. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, also a cosmetologist instructor, which I don't practice that anymore, but I have it. I have my master's degree. I have my master's degree in psychology. Medical records director. I have a degree in medical records, ICD-9 coding. Um,
That's
I'm a
awesome.
support broker. I got my license to be a support broker, and that's for to work with individuals that have special needs. I'm be a support broker, their advocate. My job is to make sure that they're getting what's important for them, to help them interview the individuals that work for them, to help them write up the interviewing questions, to make sure that everybody is doing what they're supposed to do for them. So I have my degree as far as that goes as well. I got my license for that. So I've been, hey, I'm old. I utilize the years, and I thank God for the years. I'm not ashamed to say my age. I'm 55 years old, and I thank God that I got to see 55, because a lot of people didn't get to see 55. And not only did I get to see 55, that I utilized it. That it didn't use me, but I used the tools that I had. And I thank God for that. Which age should come wisdom, and I thank God. I thank God that I got wisdom, and all that you're getting, you best get an understanding. And I thank them, I thank them because, and sharing the story with my master's degree, it wasn't easy. I got that, uh, actually 8 years ago. So I was in my late 40s, and, I had to go back and forth. At the time I was living in Maryland, but I was still working in Philadelphia. So I would ride up and down the road, up and down the road, bad car accidents, the whole 9 yards. A whole lot of things that I went through. And at one point I was like, you know what, this is it. I'm not going to do it. But my niece pushed me, and a couple of my classmates was like, no, you got to come back, and I did it, and actually I graduated from Lincoln, graduate school, and actually Lincoln gave me the Lifetime Learners Award, so which I wasn't expecting, it's like that's when it happened. When I wasn't even expecting, I just did what I did, and we used to have a saying to say, they used to always tell us, trust the process, trust the process. Well, now I get it. I know what the process is. God, He's the process. You know what I mean? He didn't say it was going to be easy. He said He was going to be with us always. He didn't say it was going to be easy, which get back to the point where nothing comes easy. Anything worth having, you have to fight for it. You know that. You know what I mean?
No, I understand. You know what? I think we're all kind of going through the things. We're getting to the point of like you don't even know. Like you're like I'm supposed to be sure at this point in time of my life.
Hmm. Hmm.
And the fact that, what had happened and, with the COVID and everything like that. I mean, I know that had to confuse a bunch of people, because we
Hmm.
were zippity doo dah, zippity day. We was just, going about our business. And this thing hit the brakes so hard. It was difficult for people to. This is why a lot of people started really losing it, losing it. And so I'm like, no, let's not do that. Let's not
Hmm.
do that. I understand. We don't have a full understanding. A lot of people don't want to admit to a lot of it, and they're like short circuiting, and it's difficult. It's really, really hard, especially when you have to worry about those other people that's in your care and, or other people in your circle and different things like that. Because everybody went through something so just treacherous in that. So yeah, no, I understand. I
True,
totally
especially if you were a victim of it, because I
understand.
caught it when it first was hot and heavy and people were dying.
Mm.
Not only did I get COVID, I had pneumonia as well.
Oh.
And I was like, God, listen, I trust you. I'm out of here because people, and it's going to come out. A lot of people died unnecessarily
Yeah.
because they were trying to play God and they ain't know. And if you didn't have a keen ear and you ain't know God for yourself, you know,
You wasn't gonna hear it.
you might say, she, God. Yes, God is everything because He is everything. And you have to know Him and you have to know His voice. And seriously, He was like, trust me. One of the nurses was like, let me listen. She was like, I don't hear nothing. I said, and I ain't asked you. She didn't hear no, and I ain't asked you. So it was like, drink real hot tea, as hot as you can stand it. Eat the lemon and eat the peeling too, and they kept trying to bring people in. I'm telling you, my room that was laying on the stretcher, and they was worse off than me. They was like wiping their mouth, they was drooling, they could hardly breathe and all. I said no, I had to stand guard. The third time they tried to bring the third person in my room, I called my daughter, come get me.
Mm.
I'm out of here. I signed myself out of that hospital, and girl, they looked like they were seeing a ghost walk, and I felt like a ghost
Mm.
walking outside. I was having an out of body experience. But nevertheless, I went home. My sister, actually, that's in the hospital now, and thank God she made it. She fighting COVID, and she had to get a trach and all that. She made me some tea and stuff like that, and it helped me bring me around. So so it's so funny how she was the caregiver and now she has to be cared for. But nevertheless, God is good.
Yeah. Oh.
So, He brought her through and she looked better than ever. She's in a rehab now, but they took the trach out. She's learning to walk again and the whole nine. But that stuff was, let me tell you, girl, I don't wish that on not even my worst enemy.
My
Somebody could bust me in the
son-in-law
head
had
and I,
got it.
yeah, somebody could bust me in my head and I still would not wish that on them because
Mm-mm.
everything hurts. Everything. I mean, it's just so undescribable. It's so
Right.
undescribable. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Everything, your family and whatnot. And I know you were kind of doing um, things with your brother
Mm-hmm.
at one point in time. Um, I know that had to be something that really challenged you to really like look so much deeper into your religious faith and your foundation and different things like that. Can you tell us about what happened?
Okay, sure. Okay, so let me share with you. My brother is disabled. He's been home now for 4 years. I brought him home. And it was challenging because I'm his legal guardian. I got a lawyer. I paid an attorney. I went and became his legal guardian. Although our mom is still living, and when he was 21 years old, my mom became sick, and my dad, they're getting older, and everybody else, the older ones, we moved out. So my mom placed him out in the community. Well, I'm gonna say community living, where he was out in the community, and these people were supposed to take care of him. Well, girl, they abused him. And it was like, you know what? I would go and go see my brother, and it was heart drenching. And it was like being disrespected. He was being disrespected, and God was like, "You trust me?" Like you're going to get him out. But it was this one last time that I was really disrespected. This girl disrespected me. She disrespected my brother. She disrespected my daughter. And it was like, oh, like, oh, like, for real, God? For real? Like, I stood in the middle of the street, tears streaming down my face, and like, for real, God, I can't do nothing. He said, you can be angry. but you sin not. I'm like, but for real? You
Mm.
really not going to let me do nothing? He said, listen, if you do something, you're going to lose. That's what they want. Because I promised my brother I was getting him out of there. I promised him that I was going to bring him home. I promised him that he was getting out of that situation. It was times when I went to see my brother, and my brother sat on the ground, refused to get up, sat in the car, refused to get out of the car because he was in such an abusive situation. And it was like the things that my brother had to endure. Had that happened and he was home with us, we would have made the news.
Mm-hmm.
From his arm broken, and the only way they can save it without cutting it off was putting screws and bolts and stuff in his arm, in his leg, his ear almost cut off, the whole 9 yards. This man had to endure all these things. But nevertheless, it's 4 years later. He's home. He's alive. He's well. He's living better than, girl, he lived better than we do. Okay? Like he lives better than we do. And now I understand what God was saying to me. He was like, you can be angry, but you sin not. Because if you go upside this girl head, which you can, if you
Mm-hmm.
go upside this girl head, that's what they want you to do. Then
Exactly.
you're not going to get them at all. Then you're
Mm-hmm.
going to lose guardianship. You're going to do the whole thing. So, nevertheless, at the end, we prevailed. We won. And,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just, at the end, because I had put my brother's apartment in his name. Them people had went behind my back and put their name on the lease too. And, so it was a whole hot mess. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, look at us now. You know what I'm saying? And so, which made me bring about, wanting to do it for others besides my brother, and
Mm-hmm.
which made me come with my motto of life is, if I can live my life helping someone, then my living ain't in vain. You know what I'm saying? Someone that's less fortunate than myself. Because the Bible says, for what you do for the least of these, and the least of these are those that are deaf, those that are nonverbal, those that are blind, those that can't walk and talk or think for themselves. Those are the least of these. You know what I'm saying? So, and they're humans, and people act like they're not human because they can't express themselves the way that you and I can, that they don't have a voice. Well, yeah, they do have a voice. People say behaviors. No, to me, a behavior is a form of communication. Because I know when I was married, and I would tell my ex-husband, don't leave your socks on the floor. The time you putting them socks on the floor, you could pick them up and put them in a hamper. I hate picking up people's socks. It's just, that just quenches my
You just
soul.
don't have no socks. I'm sorry.
you know,
No.
and he would always do it. Okay, among other things. So I break down. That was a behavior. Nobody wasn't talking about putting me on a whole bunch of psychotropic medication. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I ain't had no behavior chart. You know what I'm saying? So it's their way of communicating. They can't verbally express the way that we can. You know what I mean? They didn't ask to be born this way.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it by the grace of God, there go I, because him and I came from the same mother and the same father.
Mm-hmm.
It's six of us. By the grace of God, there go I. It could have been me in his shoes, and he could have been in my shoes. So, how do I want somebody to treat me? So,
Right.
that's why I treat individuals the way I want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't ask for that. That's just the hand that God said, okay, his name is Lafayette. Okay, Lafayette, this is your life, and you're going to be nonverbal. You know what I'm saying? He didn't ask for that. I'm sure if he had a choice, he would want to be verbal. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
True.
So yeah, I've been through some challenging things, but everything happened for a reason. But when they look at me now, you know what I'm saying? So those same individuals, looking at, he's home, he's alive, he's well, he's, and I said to my mom, I said, Mom, had Lafayette still been away and this COVID came along, they wasn't letting you in to see your son. My mother said, well, I just would have went to jail. Well, you just went to jail, like, because they wasn't going to let, like a lot of individuals, that I know, and I talk, and he's like, I haven't seen my loved one in over a year. Well, it couldn't have been me, you know. Like I told you, my sister was sick in the hospital with COVID. And they was telling my niece, "You can't go." Who can't go up? They ain't keeping. I went right up there, stood outside the door, watched and made sure what was going on with my sister. You're not going to tell me that I can't see my loved one, you know. And a lot of people was dying by alone. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So yeah, but that was it. We went through that, but look at us now. You know what I'm saying? Look at us now. You know?
Girl, you
Yeah.
blessed. That's all that is. That's
Yeah,
all I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
All
you
I'm
know.
gonna say. I'm just gonna say the blessings of the Lord. We make it rich and
That's right.
he adds no sorrow. Yes.
Yes.
Over there. Yes, I see you.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you this, right? The book.
Hmm.
What was the influence?
The influence of my book was all the things that I had to endure with my brother, broken marriage, having to move from my support system, move from Philadelphia down to Elkton, Maryland, where people used to run and get married, not to run and live, but run down there and get married, to have to up my daughter, and that I wanted a child, and God finally blessed me with a child, and and I did everything that I thought was right, like being married before I had a child out of wedlock, and I didn't just have it, because I always set goals for myself. I said I'm not going to have a child. Nothing wrong with it. Things happen, but that's just the goal I set for me. And then on raising my sister's child and helping raising other nieces and nephews, and then God blessed me with a child of my own, and then he cutting up. She came early. She was a preemie, 1 pound 13 ounces. Lost my job in a bad car accident. Ain't have no money. Had to eat teriyaki noodles and cherry Kool-Aid and hot potato chips for months. You know what I mean? No lights. God said, do you trust me? And everything that I went through, as I said, was for such a time as this. And then he would give me scriptures. Say Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He would give me that. I do some research. I look it up. He said, okay, well, what did you get out of it? That God, you my shepherd, that I don't have to want for anything, that you always going to look out for me no matter what I go through. You got me. Okay, so what's the point? So the point is, no matter what I go through, you got me. And then I would start writing. And every day I would write them. And every day I would write them, and every day it would help me get stronger and stronger. And then I started sharing with other people. I would just put it up what he gave me. And I'm like, well, if it helps somebody, it helps somebody. Well, if it don't, hey, it helped me. And then I heard God say, write a book. Write the book. And I'm like, write the book? Write the book about me? Write the book about Lafayette? I don't want to write a book about me. And then it was like I would always, like I said, I would always write them. And the guy at the time when I started them was engaged. So, and I used to say, well, I used to write him, and I said, well, how did that make you feel? And he said, well, it made me feel encouraged. It made me feel joyful, make me feel hopeful. And I would still be writing and writing. I mean, I got thousands of them, and I would write. And then now the guy that I'm engaged to now, one day he said to me, would you just write the book? And I'm like, write the book? He said, yes. Those life reflections, that's a book. And I was like, oh. And then I turned it and it's a journal. So it's like the same way God did it to me, gave me scripture. I would write it. Okay, what's the point? And how does it make you feel? And how it helps you break down scripture more. It helped me where I can explain it in layman terms, would help people to understand it more. And so, like I said, I use Psalm 23. He would give me Ephesians, Proverbs, all kinds of, he would, Titus, all kinds of scriptures God would just give me. And I would just, Psalm 91, like, what does that mean? One of them. And one day he said to me, he put in my toxic people. I'm like, toxic people? Toxic people. I need you to stay away from toxic people because it's blocking your vision. It's blocking you from hearing what I got to say to you. And toxic people could be mother, father, sister, brother, aunt, cousin, niece, nephew, spouse, husband, grandmother, great grandmother, grandfather. I don't care. Job, car, clothes, jewelry. It's toxic for you because it's blocking you from hearing what I got to say. And if you think, and that was God Himself that taught me out of all the years I read the Bible, out of all the churches that I went through, it was God Himself that taught me that Abram, before he changed his name to Abraham, and Lot was related. Because I was reading, but I wasn't comprehending. I was sitting in the church, but I wasn't grasping. And it was God Himself that taught me. You know, I tell everybody what I know spiritually. God taught me Himself. It wasn't a school. I don't have a school. I don't have a degree in theology. I don't have that. What I have, God taught me. And I think that's the best teacher, really. Because when you're speaking about in spirit and in truth. You're speaking on things that you went through. You can speak from the gut because it ain't something that I read. It's something that I went through. So the book would encourage me to write the Life Reflection Journey book. Was things that I went through in life was for such a time as toxic people, toxic relationships, not knowing where my next meal was going to come from, but I knew it was coming. You know, I didn't know when it was coming. I didn't know how it was coming, but I knew it was coming. And the other thing was God used my earthly father, his last days on earth, to get me where I'm at right now. You know, and where I'm at now, and then God just brought it home. And then He used my brother, my oldest brother that passed away, to even bring it home more, you know, and my two aunts that passed away, and I was very close to them, and how they used to say to me, "You special," and I used to be like, "Huh?" You know, like, and they used to say, "No, you just don't know how special you are." And my dad said to me when I was younger, he said, "Listen, you got to keep a book, a piece of paper, a crayon, a pen, I don't care, a marker, whatever, something to write with at all times, because God is going to be talking to you." And you know how your parents say something to you, you be like,
Like, what
okay.
kind of stuff are you
You know, like,
smoking?
what? You know, like, okay, well, He going to talk to me. And sure enough, God has always been, even when I was a little girl, God would talk to me and tell me to say things to people. And when I was little, I would say it because, you know, out of the mouth of babes, when you were little, when you were a child, you just say things. You say it. You say it. You
Yeah.
know, like, but once you get older and you hear that still voice telling you to say something to somebody, and you like, I ain't gonna say that. They gonna think I'm crazy. They gonna think I'm a witch. They gonna think I'm that. And He said, listen, when I tell you to say something, you say it. Whether it lands in the air or falls to the ground, you better get it off of you. You better say it. You better speak what I tell you to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, okay, because He said, if not, you're accountable for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, when He tell me to say something, I'll be like, oh, okay. You know, like, listen, hey, don't kill the messenger. I even got one book that say, one of my things that says, don't kill the messenger. You know what I'm saying? I'm just the messenger. Don't kill me. You know what I'm saying? I just gotta say it. And for real, you know what I say, sis? Who are we? Do you really think that you are that smart? Do you really think that you're smarter than God? Do you really think that it's you that is putting those thoughts in your head? Do
Mm-mm.
you really think that's you that's putting articulation of your speech and movement of your limbs and how you can think quick and how you can put things together? Do you really think that's you? Well, I'm
Nope.
glad to think that you think that highly of yourself. But baby, sit down, take a seat, boo boo, cause it ain't you.
Angry.
You know what I mean?
Angry.
And so I know a lot of times I've gotten underneath my mom's skin or other people's skin, but I just gotta say, I just gotta say it, and I have to say what thus says the Lord, and I have to get it out what He's telling me to say, and that's where the book came from. That's where it all stemmed from. It helped me. It helped me to not having one is so funny, and it's one, it says don't think that you, because it makes your head go poof, and God is funny. God has a sense of humor. We are in his image, so if we funny and we have a sense of humor, don't you think He does too? And I remember one time he took me to Texas, and I don't know if you remember this, it had to be about 8 or 9 years ago, and it was in October, and we had this storm, and God shut it down. He shut it down all over the world. Not a bus, not a train, not a plane, nothing was moving. It was not moving.
Right.
And He sent me to Texas. And when I went to Texas, that's when and I don't even really share this story because I don't believe in titles. I just believe in what God tells me to do, because He's not no respecter of person, and He sure enough don't care about a title. We do that, not Him. But they ordained me when I went to Texas. But nevertheless, when I got there and He was telling me to say, and I was like, listen, God, I'm not saying another thing to nobody because I just want to go home. And He was like, you're funny. You telling me what you ain't going to do? Watch this. You telling me what you ain't going to do? Okay, watch this. And until you won't go home until I'm ready for you to go home. Okay. We'll make a long story short. After I did everything that He told me to do, then He opened up and let me go home. But I was saying things. He had me say things to people and was like, and He said, if it ain't Him, speak now, forever hold your peace. And they couldn't. All they could do was drop their head. Because I'm like, God, I don't know these people. They could do whatever. I'm in Texas. I'm in Texas, God. I'm in Texas. I don't know these people. But nevertheless, God is good. And if we just learn make a long story short, trust Him. If we just learn to trust Him, not trust the situation that you see with these eyes. You got to see with a spiritual eyesight. We can't just talk the talk. We got to walk the walk. Because when we play church, we only play in ourselves because we are the church. You know what I mean? And that was one of the ones that's in the third book, I believe, that's coming out. But the name of the book is All of My Strength Come From Above, and it's doing very well. It's on Kindle and it's on Amazon, and it's a 5-star, and it's really doing good. And volume number 2 is going to be released any day now. So and I'm almost finished volume 3. So the publishing company called me because now they want me to start writing a book about me. And I'm like, writing a book about me? Like, oh, me? Like, oh, God. Like, so, because people want to know. I guess, people want to know, like, who is this person? And then, and I'm a transparent. I listen. I remember when I'm going to share this. I remember when one night, and I was married, and my husband and I had a party in our home, and we went to bed tore up. I mean, tore up. At least I thought I was tore up. And he was comatose, laying beside me, knocked out. And God showed me standing up at a pulpit speaking. And I jumped up. Ah! Me, yes. God! Me! Oh my God! How you gonna use me? And I'm looking at him, and I'm bawling, and tears rolling down my eyes. I said, I did this, and I did that. And he said, shh, I know what you did. That's why I want you. You ain't got to tell me nothing about what you did. I know what you did. So that was on a Saturday night. Sunday, I'm walking around, and just the days, just like thinking about this dream. I go to work. I was working at Thomas Jefferson Hospital at the time, accounts receivable. And I go and I printed out my work, and I go up to the printer to get my work. And my coworker walked, an older woman, and she said, "Hi, Theresha." I said, "Hi." She said, "God came to me this weekend, and he told me to come to you and ask you to speak at my church." Well, girl, my mouth said, and tears just started rolling down my eyes. And she said, "Well, did you hear what I said?" And I'm like, just nod my head, and tears just rolling. She said, "Well, are you going to do it?" And she said, "Okay, go to the bathroom, get yourself together, and then come on over to my desk and we'll talk about it more." And I'm just like, because I didn't know that he was going to come that quickly. You know what I mean? Like, and people, like when people prophesy to you, it's not that it's something that you never heard. God had already then told you. He's just sending confirmation through someone else, so that to really let you know, listen, girl, I ain't playing with you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not playing with
Like,
you.
I'm
Like,
take you by the ear, yes.
right? Like this is it. I'm not playing with you. Like, if I said it, I meant it, and that's it. Now, the only way you don't get what I have for you is because you don't want it. Because really, God wants to bankrupt heaven for us. That's how much He loves us. He loves us unconditionally. Unlike we don't love each other unconditionally because we put conditions on it. You know what I mean? We put conditions on it. Well, I'll do this if you do that. If you don't do that, I ain't going to do that. You know what I mean? But God is a God of a second, a third, a fourth chance, and He loves us. And if we just learn to trust Him and know that He's real, He's not a figment of your imagination. That still voice that you hear that saved your life a lot of times when you wanted to go left, but for some reasons you said something. No, it ain't something. It was God told you to go right, and you turning, making that right turn was right on time because it saved you. You know what I mean? And then you hear about it like, "Oh my God, I was going to go there and such," and I'm so, like, thank you. Like, I don't know if you was living in Philly at the time when our Springfield Mall, when the girl shot up Springfield Mall. And I don't know if you
What year
remember
was
that.
that?
I don't even remember, but it was in the 80s, 90s. And she shot
Oh,
up the
yeah.
Springfield
I
Mall.
was there because I didn't leave Pennsylvania until 2008. So
Yeah,
yeah.
you were there. And she shot up the mall. And I wanted to go out there to get this sweater. Well, I'm glad I didn't go out there. I just didn't feel like going by myself. And I'm glad that I didn't go out there. Because I might have been a figment of your imagination.
I know.
But God's grace and His mercy spared me. God's grace and mercy has spared me so many times. So many of us. You know what I mean? Like, so many of us from sickness and disease. So many of us, He has spared us. And I thank Him, for giving us a second and third and a fourth chance. And most of all, I thank Him that He wrote the vision. He made it plain. He knew what we were going to do when He implanted us in our mother's womb.
Yes.
But I really thank Him that He knew that we were going to make the right choices. That He knew we were going to follow Him. You know what I mean? He knew we were going to do the right. Out of all the things that we went through, and we done been through some lot. A lot of things. We done been through a lot and seen a lot of things and a lot. But nevertheless, He still had us. He still had us like this. You know what I'm saying? Even though you tried to, but and you still heard His voice. So I thank Him. I really thank Him. I really, really, truly thank Him for all that He's done. Yeah. So.
Yes. Okay. So you gotta tell everyone the name of the book again.
The name of the book is All My Strength Comes From Above.
Okay. And how can my Mayan tribe reach you, beloved?
Okay, you can reach me at TT Creations, TEE_TEE Creations, and that's on Instagram. or you can reach me on Facebook, and it's Theresha Roberts MHS. You can reach me, or you can reach me by email, and I'll give everybody my email address. My email address is lady, that's LADYTEER, the number 5 at gmail.com. So that's ladytier5 at gmail.com. I have them working on my website now for my book and everything. So all that stuff is taking place right now. So you can reach me. You can reach me by that.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay, girlfriend. I am so excited that I got a chance to talk to you finally and stuff like that. You guys, if you wanna support us, please support us. Please like, share, and subscribe to everything that's going on right now. I'm telling you, like, this is my sister, and like she
Yes.
is always been just a stronghold on a word, and you just be sitting there like, all right, Theresha, you ain't got to talk about me bad like that.
Yeah. Here's the book right here. It's called All My Strength Comes From Above. And in the back has a picture on me. And like I said, it's on Amazon and it's on Kindle. Okay. It comes in black and white and it comes in color.
Oh, black. Okay, Kindle. Okay.
So I'll just open up the book so I'm going to show you. This is my mom's book. I'm borrowing it. But it's a journal. You read it and then you just write. You want me to read one?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Good one. So I'm going to read John chapter 4, verse 24. It says, God is a spirit, and those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. The point is this: if you and I are going to do what God says, then we must believe that he knows what he's talking about, and that he knows better than we do. Note to self: obedience means doing what God says, even when it's uncomfortable. Even if it's not what I want to do, I just have to do it and be okay. I'm focused. You know, which break me. God, you never cease to amaze me. He be doing this thing because basically what ties into the whole conversation we was having. You got to trust his process. You got to do it no matter if it's uncomfortable. You got to do it because Father knows what's best.
Yeah.
And a good father do discipline his child, but not to. And believe me, it hurt him more than it hurt you.
Okay.
Okay. So it ties it all into it. You know what I mean?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You were talking about it as if, like the book had nothing to do with this whole thing. This was all about Theresha and like the stuff that you already went through and different things like that. And I know that's the reason for the book, but at the same time, there's such a message that actually hones into the very like soul or core of a situation that could kind of go like vastly across so many different areas and aspects of life, and that's deep, girl.
Yeah. Like he never ceased to amaze me. He just nothing he does, I guess in these 55 years, nothing that God do is he just, man, good is not even a good enough word for God.
Nope.
Amazing is not even a good enough word for God. Phenomenal is not a good enough word. He's just,
I don't think there is a such word.
He's just,
he's super dope, like the opie dope, like the kids say. He's dope.
He's just dope. He all that in a bag of Doritos, you know what I mean, with a Pepsi, a Sprite, and a grape soda. You know what I mean?
And the grape.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, don't forget the grape and the
Yes.
Dr.
That's that going to the corner store so you can get that grape soda.
Right.
That Welch's grape. You
That's right.
can't have nothing else but.
The Welch's, okay? But
Yes.
he just never ceases to amaze me, man.
Yes. Yes.
He's
Yes.
awesome. He's just awesome, you know?
Yeah. Girl, I love your story. I always love talking to you. Either
And
way, it don't matter.
talking to you, you know, I always did. And I always saw something special in you. I mean, like, you different. Like, I was so glad when I used to come up there. And actually, when you left there, I stopped going up there. You know what I mean? I started taking my car to Delaware because I'm like, I did there, the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh no. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, I'll take my card, I'll debit now. You know, I'm
Yeah.
and I'm right there. So but I'm not going here because it's totally different. You know,
Mm,
just see when you can see things, you can
yeah.
see. I see what it is. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and
Because they
so
was letting people go left and right on that year. I was like, they say last hired, first one fired.
right,
I'm not trying to do that. I'm like, I got 3 kids sitting upstairs looking at me crazy.
right.
I'm not trying to do that. But yes, it was it was definitely the start of my journey. I will say that because right when I left there, I ended up moving to Texas. So I was in Texas for about 3 years, and Indiana, and all the other places. Now,
But that
you
was
know,
all you trust in his process, and you might not have understood it then, and you probably was like, you know, and your family and your kids probably was looking at you like, what is mommy going? Like, what is this all about? But look at you now. Everything that you went through was for such a time as this.
yep.
You may not. He takes the most unordinary things. Un. He takes ordinary people to do extraordinary things.
Mm, Donnie,
And
Donnie.
it's like you be saying like, wait a minute, listen. When I moved back to Pennsylvania, Philadelphia from Texas, from Philadelphia from Maryland, I heard God say, I want you to give up everything. Everything?
To make room for more. Yes.
Everything. Girl, let me tell you something. Girl, I can't even,
Mm,
girl.
I believe you.
I went from one car to 3. I had one, and I remember I was paying for that red BMW, trying to save a buck, letting somebody outside of BMW to fix it. And this guy tore my car up, and I still had to pay the car note. I still had to pay the car insurance, and my baby still had to get to school, and I had to walk because in Maryland, where I live, no buses run in Elkton.
Ooh, no.
But I went from having one car, and I always said I wanted the convertible top car. Well, I ain't got one convertible top car. I got 2 and an SUV. Okay,
Oh no.
God is all. God is. Listen,
Mm,
listen. And I remember I told you my mom's house burnt down last year.
yeah.
I came up, he said, give up everything. And I said, everything. Then my mom started calling me. I want you to come back to Philly. I need you to come back. And I'm like, Mom, look, if I come back there, I ain't listen, Mom. She's like, I'm going to show you better not tell you. Make a long story short, I came back. I came across some money. I tried to help my mom fix her house up, put a deck on it, the whole 9 yards, fix it up, make it livable because somebody had tore her house up. People had took advantage of her and everything. Make a long story short, last year the house burnt down. Burnt down, and I'm going to send you the video so you can put it up. Burnt
Mm,
down. The only thing left standing was the Bible. And when he told me to go around the back, and when I went around the back, the Bible was on the ground, open to Psalm 23.
ooh.
That house was built the same year I was born, 1965. So
Mm,
that house, that shell is 55 years old. They took that house down to the bare bricks of
mm,
that house and rebuilt that house back up. Okay,
mm.
nobody got hurt. My disabled brother got out. My senior citizen mom got out. My nephews was in there. My daughter was in there. I had just left. Everybody got out their house. But my mom get ready to move back in their house on Friday. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
The house sit by itself.
Mm,
It went from having 4 bedrooms to five bedrooms,
mm.
1 bathroom to 3 full bathrooms and a powder room. It got two living rooms, one upstairs, one in the basement. It has a workout room. It has a washroom. It has an entrance on the side and the back. Listen, it got a deck. Yes, I'm on it. I'm next. The next time we do it, I'll be doing it from there. And I'm going to walk around the house. You're going to put up the video of the house burning and all that. And then we're going to walk around the house, even outside the house, so you can see that house now. Don't tell me what God can't do.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And everybody got out. You can material things can be replaced, but a soul can't be replaced, you know? But I say all that to say that everything that we went through was for such a time as this, because I did not want to come back here. And now I see what he meant when he said, I want you to give up everything. Because, listen, hard-headed. So I put my stuff in storage now. He said, I said, give up everything. Okay, you're not going. So when I went back to get the stuff out of storage, I couldn't use it anyway. It was water damage, mold, rollers got the whole 9 yards. So
It's like, oh, so if you don't give it up, I'm gonna take it.
okay, obedience is far better than sacrifice.
That is true.
Because I was trying to hold on. He said, hold on for. Now, one of the sofas my dad bought me, he's no longer with us, but it has sentimental value.
Right.
You know what I mean? And my brother wound up losing them. So I'm like, and then the other stuff was in there. You know, he said, I told you give up everything. So now he's just quiet. When I went back in there, everything, he was like, I told you to give it up. But you didn't. You wanted those, so you can't use it anyway. You know what I mean? So, nevertheless, it's funny. Things that make you laugh. You know what I mean? It's funny. So it's all good. It's all good. So it's all good.
Oh, wow. But you know what? It needs to be said.
Right.
Somebody needed to hear that. So definitely, I see where I'm going now, honey.
Right. You know. So.
Definitely, this is awesome. Okay, so we understand exactly why the book is very important, and it's not just for just our individual benefit. It's for the benefit of the reader as well, or who the reader may need to pass this along to have the same message. Because like this is deep, girl. This is super deep. I love that.
Thank you. All right. I just want to tell you thank you. I want to thank you for being who you are, being the person that you are, and don't ever change. Be who you are, because you're going to go far. You're going to go very, very far, and stay obedient, stay true to who you are. And this is just the beginning. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh, that's right.
You ain't seen nothing. Yup. You ain't seen nothing.
All right, you guys, we love you so much. Thank you so much, Theresha, for being here. We appreciate everything that you bring to us, the time, the effort, and all the energy, dear heart. Thank you. And so definitely, you guys, if you want to hear about Miss Theresha, she is here, ready and available for you guys. And also, she's giving you a party. Get that book. Go get the book. Go get the book.
And if people can even messenger me, send me, and the books that come from me are autographed books. The ones, of course, on Amazon and Kindle are not autographed, but the ones that come from me are. And I have a little bit left, so if people want to get them, they can call me and get them from message me, and I will see that they get their book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See, this is
thank you.
Lady Myya. Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you, dearest. Well, you guys, if you want to be on the show, go ahead and hit me up. That is admin@ladymyya.com. That's MYYA. And you know why? Because your homegirl is special. I'll talk to you guys later.
admin@ladymya.com or ladymya.com. That's MYYA. And you know why? Because your homegirl is special. I want to hear your story. Go ahead. You can also text me at 214-529-0980. I look forward to talking to you.